Former head of the Tobago Chamber of Commerce and businessman Demi John Cruikshank. A pleasant good evening to you, Mr. Cruikshank.
Good night, sir, and all your listeners where they are.
Yes, all over, all our viewers. I know a lot is taking place. I mean, reports of construction supplies, food supplies, and the list goes on. Tell us what's happening on this style as far as the economy and having things moving.
Right. So let me put it into context. So what has happened is on the 24th of last month, August, the Cabo Star caught a fire in the engine room, and that is the main vessel that brings cargo to the island of Tobago from Trinidad. And what is happening is since then to now, which is exactly 3 weeks to today, you have had a depletion of basic food items, some of the basic food items in the island. There is a total depletion of blocks, cement, sand, and steel, especially from the hardware sector and the construction sector. Some of the ready-mix companies had to stop operation because there is no cement on the island. We now start to get back some cement with the advent of this cargo vessel that is running. So we are hoping and we are keeping the port authority to their word that by the 17th the repair should be done on the Cabo Star, and we're hoping that we should be back on the road early next week with the Cabo Star. So that will alleviate all the crisis that we have going on right now.
But the vessel that is being used in the interim, is that efficient? I mean, has that been assisting?
Yeah, well, it had its maiden voyage last night,
Right.
and that vessel only takes 1/3 of what the Cabo Star can carry. 1/10, of what the Cabo Star can carry. So the Cabo Star could really carry about 300 vehicles. The estimated amount of vehicles this vessel can carry is about 30-35. So you understand the limitation that this vessel has. We are grateful that the bridgeman, the owners of the Cabo Star, could have scrambled an assistance vessel to assist the people of Tobago to bring cargo to Tobago, especially the bulk cargo. But this should not be the norm. This really and truly should not be the norm in terms of why do we have to wait until a crisis comes up to understand that there is a need for a cargo vessel between Trinidad and Tobago. And this is the question we in our interview, in our press conference today, we actually called on Minister Rohan Sinanan to meet with us. We actually was going to write him, and I saw that he responded immediately and said we don't even have to write a letter. He will come to Tobago and meet with the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce and the other stakeholders. So we are hoping that very soon that things will roll out and we would start having this problem alleviated just now, because trust me, the business community cannot go on like this, because you can't tell me I, as a business owner, have to run my business from 8 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock, go pick up my kids, go home from school, and then you have to get up 1 o'clock in the morning on the port until 5 o'clock in the morning, and then try to go and open back your business the next day. That is something that we cannot have, and it's just a temporary measure, and I hope that is a very, very short measure in terms of us having to do that on a nightly basis.
No, I'm going to throw you a bit here into the politics because we're talking about the economy. Now, have you sat down with the other stakeholders and representatives of the THA and outlined a path forward as far as the economy in Tobago? Has that taken place as yet?
Well, let me tell you what, we are very close to because some of the executive members of the chamber is also executive members of the Hotel Association. So you have a duplication there. So we know what the Hotel Association is doing, the Hotel Association. Unfortunately, since coming into office, we only met officially with the Chief Secretary once as a body, right? We thought we would have had very, very frequent meetings with the Tobago House of Assembly to want to understand their policy and understand where the Assembly wants to go. but that is not forthcoming. So we asked today for a meeting with the minister, and the minister has indicated by early next week he's going to meet with us. So you understand the difference of how the two different organizations react to situation.
Well, and that's the case here, Mr. Cruikshank. I mean, is it a matter of playing politics? I mean, because one seems to be a bit very much receptive and accessible, but yet still someone has been there with a team for over a year and have not met with the stakeholders to lay out any sort of plan as far as moving forward, dealing with tourism, dealing with many of the factors that you people have been raising, you and your group, for quite a while. Do you believe that you're now being placed in that political arena indirectly?
Well, we will not get political. We will represent the business community. And I'm telling you, we remember when 2017, when we had this serious crisis on the sea bridge? You remember that?
Yes.
We had a crisis on the sea bridge. We had no fast ferry, we had no cargo vessel, and the chamber was the leading voice in Tobago, not even the THA. And what came out of that? We got two. We were forceful, but we were respectful to the government. You did not hear the chamber bashing the government in any way, but we were very forceful in the meetings. The Prime Minister brought the entire cabinet to Tobago to meet with the entire private sector at that time. So, and then coming out of that, we got two brand new fast ferries, which is $1 billion investment. So the Port Authority, the NITCO and the minister is well aware of the needs for the cargo requirements for Tobago. And it is just for us to firm up with the minister, with this new team in the chamber, because that's what we used to be headed by Ms. Diane Haddad. Now we have a new chairman, Mr. Curtis Williams, and some new members on the executive. And we need to continue the talk with the minister and his team in Trinidad to say, listen, it is time that we get a cargo vessel or two that can service the sea bridge dedicated to Trinidad and Tobago. Now, you have to remember, the Tobago House of Assembly is a different creature and a different entity to the private sector, right? So the THA has monies coming to the THA from the central government every quarter on a monthly basis. So if cargo comes to Tobago, if foodstuff comes to Tobago, the Tobago House of Assembly employees and the secretaries are paid a salary. If the private sector don't get blocks, cement, sand, and steel, and foodstuff to sell, how are we going to pay salaries at the end of the month? So there's two different creatures we're dealing with. One is private sector and one is the public servant, because at the end of the day, the public servants will get paid at the end of the month. But if the private sector doesn't have goods, that too goes up.
I think you bring that point home very clearly, very, very clear, crystal clear. So understand quite clearly, some are always going to eat, others have to depend on working and, of course, getting their business up and running in order to benefit in any form or fashion. And you are so correct about that. The issue of crime, however, on the Sister Isle, how is that affecting the whole business community?
Well, we just actually yesterday, we got an armed robbery from the Taxi Corp gas station. I think it was yesterday or Monday. And those are things that we are not willing to tolerate in Tobago. We understand what is happening in Trinidad. But Tobago is a totally separate mindset and culture to Trinidad. And we will do everything in our power and work with Mr. Hazel. He's a Tobagonian. He's the ACP for Tobago. And we have told him in our meetings, we have met with him a few times, and we have told Mr. Hazel, you have to do everything legally in your powers to make sure that crime is not a runaway horse in Tobago. But let me tell you something. If the THA don't understand how they spend their allocation, if you don't spend money within the community of Tobago, make sure the Tobago contractors and the businesses survive. And if you have contractors in Tobago sending home 300 and 400 workers, those 400 workers, you could do what you want. You could pick up all the biggest, highest spends. If a man is hungry and you have food in your house he will come for the food that you think you are protecting very well. And those are the simple, basic things we have to let the Tobago House of Assembly understand when you are locating your contracts, because the Tobago House of Assembly in the first year went and put in $300 million to contractors outside of Tobago. So what you're saying is you take a whole one-year development program money and give it to contractors outside of Tobago. What happened to the contractors based in Tobago?
Yeah, how are they going to survive?
Who are employing Tobagonians? So you have to understand. So these are the discussions we want to have with the Chief Secretary. They are a new group, and I always say, we can be forceful with our position, but we will respect the office of the Chief Secretary. But he needs to have these type of discussions so we could explain to him. If money is not circulating on the island, you will have social problems in terms of people will look for all kind of ways to get money and to get food.
And it doesn't take rocket science to figure that out. You're quite correct again, quite clear. For example, is Tobago open as far as the festivals? Is it open to the world? It seems to be the best kept secret. Is it a matter of not really, trying to promote anything in the Trinidad market? If so, is it being done outside, nationwide, Europe, and what have you?
Well, I can't say, and again, this is for all the festivals, this come under the Division of Tourism and Culture. And again, we thought we had so much festivals on the island that we would sit down with the Tobago House of Assembly and discuss a year plan. Because by now you must know what festivals you want to have throughout the year. You must know what festivals you want to think. We as the private sector need to know what time to bring food. And like for the October Carnival, we had people asking, what is really going on with the October Carnival? It's only now 1 month before the October Carnival, we see a schedule coming out and an itinerary. This should have been out 6 months ago. So people could have booked their flights, etc. And then there's a next thing that we need to have a firm discussion with Caribbean Airlines in terms of getting more flights on the route to service Trinidad and Tobago. And all those talks have to be done. But here what's going on? I'm a businessman. I am responsible for running my business. Nobody elected me. But why am I doing politician's job when we have politicians employed to do those things? And that is the concern.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, these things are there. These are festivals. And if it is that you're trying to show that you can take care of your own house and lead your own way, at least let's see something different. It should never be the best kept secret and all this scrambling and last minute trying to get something together. I think that really doesn't make sense. I think that the newness of office should have been gone by now. And,
that's supposed to go.
And people would have been settling and running the business. But when you look at it as far as if you had to do, take a temperature on the ground, is it 50-50? Some people understanding, some people saying give it some more time. What have you, as far as interaction?
Well, I can tell you from the business community, time has run out. I can speak on behalf of the business community. Now, the business community is saying here, time has run out. The bankers have said the honeymoon is over. So you wait 2-3 months if the THA do not address some of the financial issues on the island, and you will see, you will be calling my phone to find out what is going on in Tobago, because I'm telling you, the banks has been very lenient for the last 2 years, but those leniencies has come to an end. And they have to understand the bigger picture, and you have to understand we are now in governance, and we have to sit down and discuss, because the information the private sector would have, the THA may not have it.
Yeah.
So we all need to sit down and have one voice and one conversation going forward to say, listen, I think at the press conference I had to adjust a matter from Senator Hislop, because Senator Hislop is saying, why after 2 weeks we have no stock on the island? Senator Hislop just don't understand that we have no money to stock nothing, to have additional stock, because we've been battling and the economy for the last 10 to something years, and it's a fight every single year in terms of getting monies from the Tobago House of Assembly. There's no predictability. PNM come in, PDP came in, TPP is now in office, and there's no predictability from the Tobago House of Assembly to say, if you give them goods today, you will be paid within 30 days. There's none.
Yeah.
So it was unfortunate that he said that because he did not understand the bigger picture. And then you had on one hand, where the Tobago House of Assembly saying that, well, we don't have a crisis in Tobago because we have food. But again, who is talking to the private sector? Who is the ones who is bringing the food? Who has trucks parked up in Trinidad? Who wholesalers are saying we are not going to continue sending trucks to the port because they are not getting on the boat?
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time out. Best of luck to you and your entire team. I know it's not easy. It has been an uphill battle, but I know you're one that is always focused and always ready to continue with the fight.
It's always a pleasure talking to you and your viewers and things. And see you all next time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.